So Jesus goes out in the desert and he comes back and he's enlightened. Previous to this, he's not. He goes out, this is right after he's been baptized, and had this like mystical experience when he had been baptized. He was literally stunned by it when he went in, and then what he was feeling afterwards, I'm imagining that he was getting some type of energetic activation or download. So anyways, he stumbles out of the river, he walks out into the desert, and he's out there for 6 weeks, and he has this enlightenment that comes to him. So while he's out in the desert, he can see through rocks. He can understand how everything was operating. He would be looking at the birds, things would be presented to him so that he could contemplate and he could see like the inner workings of these things so that he could understand how it was that the universe was actually operating. And so while he's out there and he's seeing through these rocks and he's seeing through these things, he was seeing the operation of the cells within the body. But now keep in mind, a couple thousand years ago, they didn't have the little microscope. So he can't be like, hey, dudes, yeah, I know they're called cells and they were doing this thing. He can't tell them this because they don't understand that. They can't actually, visibly see these things. So he's then, after he comes out of the desert, he's having to explain things to people in a different way. But what he was seeing was the operation of love within everything. Because did you know that the difference between a hair cell and a scalp cell is nothing other than the intelligent work that they perform day after day after day after day? And that they do this job without, us even having to think about it. They just do these things, they perform perfectly, and at no point does your hair cell or your skin cell, scalp cell also all of a sudden just turn into a kidney. No, because it knows its function. All of these things are so intelligent that they know exactly what it is that they need to do. But what these little cells are is consciousness. This is the role that they play. They know the role that they play and they do it extremely well. How does this little tiny cell know what type of nutrition it needs to take in, properly use it, and then excrete what it no longer needs? How does it know how to do this? Tell me. It's consciousness. It knows what it needs and what it does not need. And all of it is operating on the biggest picture, which is universal love, which means every little tiny cell in your body is operating out of perfect love so that you can live your life and you don't even think about these things, right? You get a little cut on your arm. Are you sitting there being like, okay, heal, this thing needs to heal? No, you're not doing any of these things. Your body is repairing itself while you sleep at night without any help from you. It just goes on and operates through consciousness, performing exactly the task that it needs to protect, that it needs to perform so that it can protect and provide for you and do exactly what it is that you need without you even thinking about it. Now, the only time that like a problem would sneak into this is, let's say, okay, you cut your arm and you got this thing and you're like, oh no, it's not going to heal. And then you start putting in some type of other consciousness energy other than divine consciousness energy into it and contaminate and block or stop the process from healing. I've actually seen this. There was many years ago, this was like a really fascinating article in a hypnosis magazine, and this dude, he had a leg injury, it's not healing. He's like, why is my leg not healing? And after he'd had surgery, anyway, so eventually he ends up at a hypnotist who takes him back. He uses regression, good thing, because most, don't, and they need to be if they're not. He takes him back, and he follows this back, and he goes to the operating table. Well, he's unconscious, right? He's under the medicine, and he's laying there, and he hears the surgeon say, "Ooh, I don't know how this is going to heal. Like it doesn't look good." And so because he's not actually conscious at the time, he absorbed this. He had no resistance to be like, oh, that's not going to happen, right? He just absorbed it, took it in, and then his body didn't heal until he went and had this revelation, and then his body healed because he realized that he was the one that was blocking his own healing. Crazy, right? Why would we do this? So all of the healing that we do experience is done by the Creator. There's nothing that is not done by the Creator, but it is you and me that through our own consciousness, through our mind, through the beliefs, through our lack of faith, that we will block all the blessings, all the wonderful healing, all of the things that are meant for us. Now, let's say that you have been, you're Jesus, you're out in the desert, and you've had this enlightenment come to you. So what was happening while things were coming to him? So first of all, he's being presented with like a bird. Oh, wow, look, he can see what he was calling a shimmer of motes, a shimmer of tiny motes. He's seeing the cells, the motes, within this bird's body. But what he is noticing is that all these tiny cells are performing work. Oh, constantly, every single second, they're performing work. So they're doing their little thing, they're taking in the nutrition, they're excreting what it is that they don't need, and they're performing this work. And so he realized and he understood that work is love, right? So what he is witnessing is the divine love in action. And now this bird, he ain't doing nothing about nothing. He's just living his life. And all of this beautiful love work is being done within him without him even becoming aware or even knowing that it's happening in the first place. What a wonderful, beautiful thing that is, that this is happening. So now he's out in the desert, and these things are coming to him, and he's noticing that all of the animals that are being presented to him were so uniquely and beautifully and perfectly cared for, that the animals that are like prone to flies were equipped with really long tails so that they could expediently get rid of these flies. He's noticing that the ones that need extra coverings on their feet because they're just walking around all day have hoof and nail, and that they are being protected and that they're being provided for in every single way. And he's noticing, this is one of the ones that's so amazing to me, is that, so there's sheep, right? They're out grazing in a field, and he's, there's all these sheep and they're out grazing, and they are only consuming grass, but yet somehow, miraculously, it is producing flesh, bone, blood, wool, teeth, eyeballs, lanolin in their fur. It's producing all kinds, or their wool, all kinds of amazing and wonderful things for these animals, and the only thing that they're eating is grass. But yet every nutritional need is met. Everything that they could possibly ever need is being provided for, and their needs are being met through grass. Even that in itself is miraculous. How is that even possible? How's that even possible? Because could you survive on only grass? Well, maybe your body would probably adapt to it. But even this was a wonderful marvel of creation that he's seeing. And so what he was witnessing while he was out there, what he became so aware of, was that every need, including every need that you have, is perfectly and wonderfully taken care of. And in fact, it is taken care of before you even know that you have the need, before you even know that you have the want. But it is only through our consciousness. It is only us that blocks that from coming to us, through our beliefs, through the things that we think. Because he saw that when he held a really strong conviction about something, that its change, that its form would actually change in front of him. I have experienced this. I have seen this, that, when you're looking at something and then you start thinking about it differently, the form that you are seeing visibly with your eyeballs, it will begin to change. And so he understood that where there was a conviction in consciousness, there would be a change in visible form. And so through understanding this, he realized, first of all, what faith even is, right? So when I was little, I remember, I was going to a Christian church. And so I was told, well, if you believe in Jesus, then this is what's going to happen. If you just believe that he died for you on the cross and he died for all your sins, then that's what matters. And I was like, dude, man, that is so messed up. So if I believe that somebody, died for me, then I don't know. It's crazy to me when I think about it now. But at that time, that was really beneficial, because I believed, okay, I believe in Jesus. So of course, if I pray for something, because I was told, where two or more of you come together, there I'm with you also, told all these little things. And so then I believed them. And so then they would play out. But what I wasn't understanding at that time, because the people who were teaching me didn't understand this, that actually what I was witness to was my beliefs. And it had nothing to do with what it was that I believed in. And I'm telling you this because you could give the power to anything that it is that you want. It is purely your faith, your belief in that particular thing, that is what is doing it. So here, let me give you an example. If I truly believe that I'm going to win the lottery, I'm going to win the lottery, I'm going to win, $70 million. And I truly believe that, and I put my faith in that, and I believe it without any doubt, it will come to fruition, because I have put my faith and my belief in that. Now, I don't need to believe in a higher power. I don't need to believe in a person. I don't need to believe in anything for that then to take place. All I need to do is believe in that thing. However, why would I not want to do this? Well, because how do we know that it's for the highest and best for us? And I don't want to do anything that's not for the highest and best, because if you ever, let's say, wanted something and then you didn't get it, and then however long later you were like, good thing I didn't get that thing because that would have been a nightmare. I see why that didn't happen. This is why, right? Sometimes we really want something, but it's not the thing, and it's not what's meant for us. And if we did get that thing, it could in fact block us or stop us from pursuing or doing the thing that we're actually supposed to do. So let's say here, you really want $70 million. Okay, you want it so bad, all of a sudden, oh wow, it arrives, you got it, you won, you freaking won the lottery, and you arrived, and it arrived on your doorstep, and you got it one day, and you're like, yeah, that's the thing. Now what happens? Okay, you're like, sweet, I'm gonna go buy a house in Turks and Caicos, I'm gonna go live on the beach, and I'm gonna just play out the rest of my days being an artist and swimming in the ocean. Excellent. Now, you're on your deathbed, and at the end of your life, you're like, what? Oh, I was supposed to go and deliver this speech for this person and change the world through that, and then go and work for this guy over here and do all these things. But because you didn't need the money anymore, you stopped putting in any effort, and therefore you didn't go and do the thing that you were supposed to do. And you were like, oh, it's good and gravy, I got the thing that it is that I wanted, but you didn't get the thing that it was that you needed and the reason why you came here. And so sometimes when we want these things, those things, we could manifest them, but they're not what is meant for us, because it could stop us from what is meant for us. You know, I had worked with somebody before, and they didn't need any of the money. And so then what happens? Well, sometimes people lose motivation when they're not doing the thing that they're supposed to be doing, and they don't need any financial backing, and they don't need any of this stuff. Pretty soon, I could take it or leave it, could be the attitude that could come. And if you have some huge purpose in your life, something that you have to do that you are supposed to do, and you got that, and it would then make your motivation dwindle down, and then you wouldn't end up achieving or accomplishing that thing. You get to the end of your life, you have this like life review, and you're like, oh, because I overstepped, because I was doing things in accordance with what it was that I wanted, not with what the divine wanted for me. And therefore it stunted and stopped me from doing what I was supposed to do. Now I'm dead. I got to come back here. I got to live it all over again. I got to do it again. I got to remember next time, hey, don't manifest the $70 million, because it's going to stop you from getting the thing that you're actually supposed to be doing, and the thing that you're supposed to be here for. Exactly what it is that you wanted so bad when you came in here. But we stop it because we think that we know better. But we don't. There's an example in the Christ letters when he's like, okay, so like there's a little kid and he's throwing a temper tantrum because he wants some ice cream. And, you know, he's freaking out. He's on the floor. Meanwhile, his parents standing there, and they got ice cream behind their back, but they also got a bowl of fruit. And it's like the kid, you know, they want ice cream, they this and that, but they've limited themselves. They don't even know that fruit was an option as well as the ice cream, that they can have it all, that they can have so much more. And the divine's just sitting up there, just waiting for you to, you know, pray about it, ask about it. What do I need to let go of? Because sometimes it's not what am I supposed to be doing. Sometimes it's what am I supposed to be letting go of? Because often our life is so full, right? You want that perfect relationship, but you're holding on to the one that's not. Well, you're not going to get that one because you're still holding on to this. You want that job that just is the most fulfilling and wonderful thing, and you want it so bad, but you've refused to let go of the one that you have, and so you just don't actually have the extra energy, the extra space for it, and so it is not going to come in. And so rather than be like, okay, well, if I had $70 million, it's going to solve all my problems, and so that's what I'm going to manifest. That's the thing that it is that I want. But meanwhile, you don't even know that if you did receive that, it would block the things that are supposed to be coming to you that will be so much more fulfilling. Because I'm here to tell you, there is no amount of money that is going to bring you any kind of fulfillment that would be any better or even come close. It wouldn't even touch it than the connection that you get with the divine. There is nothing that is more fulfilling. When I was, I go on these retreats, these, enlightenment journeys, these spiritual retreats that are private, and I go by myself. And once you've gone, and you've been up there for a bit of time, and you're completely by yourself, you're not on social media, I don't even have the Wi-Fi, I can't do any of the things. When you're out there for, a certain amount of time, and you get to that place where you're like, right, this is why I keep doing this. This is why I'm here, because the divine love just flows in at a level that you can't even you can't even describe it. It is so perfectly, powerfully, wonderfully fulfilling and satisfying, and there's nothing else that you could ever want. Now, when this flows through, when it comes, you don't want anything. You honestly don't want anything. And if somebody came up and they handed you $70 million, you'd be like, cool, I'm going to help a whole bunch of people with this. But you wouldn't be thinking, I'm going to go buy that yacht. I'm going to go buy that island. Because you don't care, because you know that there is zero fulfillment in it at all. And the only thing that actually brings you fulfillment is your connection with the divine love. And when you get to this point, then you understand why all of these things that people just want to manifest. Oh, I want the new car. They don't matter. They don't bring any satisfaction. As soon as you drive off that car lot with your car, cool. Now what? Now what? Are you going to go sleep in your car? Are you going to spend all your time in it? Are you going to whatever? Like what? It's meaningfulness very immediately begins to dwindle in your life, and it becomes extremely unimportant. And the only thing that remains that is important is your connection with the divine. And why? Because there's nothing on earth that is like it. Now, imagine the most perfect love that you could possibly imagine. And I know, you're going off of exactly what I did, was my limited human experience of what love could be. And so when I actually experienced what it's actually like from the divine, my mind was freaking blown. And I was like, this is I get it. I understand now. And I understood everything about everything at that point when this came through. What I truly understood was why people do the things that they do. And they do the things that they do because they haven't experienced that love. They don't know how truly and actually perfect it is. Because if they did understand how truly perfect it was, there would be no physical ailments. There would be no illness. There would be no anything, because they would know, I've done this to myself, and I've done it because I've had some low consciousness forms that I have allowed to manifest inside my body. I have all these unspoken words. I have all of these things that I've housed within me that are not in alignment with love, that are either angry or hurtful or hateful or resentful or unhealed trauma from the past. I've had all of these things contaminating up my system, which has not allowed me to experience the perfect love of the divine. And because of that, and because of your human experience, right? Your parents, were they perfect? Probably not. They probably weren't perfect. The relationships that you had in your life, did they show you perfect love? They probably didn't. It was probably conditional love. And so you don't even know what it's like to have unconditional, perfect love until you've experienced it from the divine. And the only way that you can experience this is through some mystical thing that just pops through at some point in your life, through dedication to a spiritual practice and constant prayer or meditation. But these things come, when they come at the right time. Because previous to when it came through, I had so much that I needed to learn. I had so many experiences that I needed to go through. I had so many things that had to happen the way that they had to happen before that came through, so that I could be prepared. But here's the thing. When it does come through, if you're seeking this, what then happens? Everyone who knew me previously, like I've been 50 different people in my life, as I'm sure you have too, right? Are you the same person you were 10 years ago? No. And if you met people that you knew 10 years ago, they're going to think of you like they did 10 years previous, even though you might be a completely different person now, a completely unrecognizable different person now. There will still be these energies, these consciousness energies that these people have, that they then project on you when they then come back into your life, if you hadn't seen them in 10 years or something like this. And why does this matter? Well, because when you have this breakthrough, when you have the spirit come through to you in such a powerful way that you can't unknow it, you can't unsee it, it will change you as a person. But because no one else around you is experiencing that, they will not understand it. They won't get it. They might think that you're crazy. They can't understand. It's like trying to describe a mountain. Right? I've been to, this particular mountain. I'm going to tell you about the waterfalls and the crevices and the valleys and the flowers and the birds and the animals and all of the wonderful features that are on this mountain, but you will never know it like I know it. Right? You could have these mental pictures in your head that's like, oh, what a wonderful, it sounds so beautiful, but you won't know it unless you've actually been there. And then Christ, he goes out in the desert and he comes back and he's relaying his experience. And everything that he talked about Everything that he talks about in there, I have experienced. So just, if you study the Christ letters, continue to study them and continue to pray and continue to meditate, and you too will experience exactly what he is talking about in there. You will. If you feel the pull, if you feel the draw to it, if this is something that is for you, I guarantee you 100%, if you do not stop and that is your goal of, I want enlightenment, I want to feel that love, that pure unconditional love at 100%, so that I can understand it, so that I could go then and help people heal from things, you will get it. You will 100% get it if you expect that that's what you're going to get, and you don't stop until you get it. But what happens is people do something for a week, or they do it for a day, or they do it for a few hours, or they do it for a month, and they're like, yeah, it didn't work, didn't see the results. Had I stopped, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. Had I, not had the faith to know that, okay, well, things have to happen in divine order. Let's say that you are wishing for your perfect partner, and you're just trying to manifest them, and but you're not the perfect partner yet, because you haven't gone through, this heartbreak, or you haven't gone through this, or you haven't gone through all of these things that have made you then look at yourself and be like, oh, you know what, I could really improve in these areas. And you haven't become the perfect partner. Do you really want to attract your perfect partner at that time? No, because you'll screw it up, right? Because it's not, the timing is not correct. So holding the faith and having the faith in the meantime, even if nothing is happening, even if it's been 2 years and nothing has changed and nothing has happened, but holding that faith and keeping it, this is what's going to get you those end results. This is what's going to get you where it is that you need to be. So talking about the love. So he's out in the desert. He's had this amazing experience, and he's like totally jacked, totally pumped, because he understands everything in nature is perfectly provided for. Their needs are met before they even know that they have a need. He's seeing how perfectly and wonderfully the work is done within them without them even knowing or having any say in any of the perfect work that is being done within them. And so he's understanding several things. He's understanding that it is the mind, it is the consciousness that undoes the perfect work. And so he's like, okay, so it's the mind. We can't keep on doing the perfect work. So then he's going in, well, what is it that's undoing the perfect work? And it's anything that is contradictory to the love. Anything that is not that love is undoing the work of the love. And so he knew what we need to do is cleanse our mind of everything that is not that perfect love. So our angers, our resentments, our vengefulness, our horrible words, our gossip, our slander, or anything that takes away from the life or the love or the perfection of other people. We need to stop doing that, and we need to interject into it love in those places where we were not putting it in there before, where we see somebody and we're like, oh, how stupid. Why would we talk like this? Why would we say that? Do you want someone to say that to you? What a horrible thing that is. So instead of being, oh, how stupid, oh, wow, I hope that person's okay. Maybe they need something. It is truly about our attitude. It's about our perspective. And when we shift it and when we change it and we stop judging the things that we're seeing on the outside, even when we see other people judging, which can be so upsetting, when we see that and we just understand, wow, okay, I feel bad for this person. They just don't understand the truth, and they are clearly suffering in some way. So I'm just going to send this person all the love that I have in my heart. I'm going to imagine this heavenly love raining down on them, and I'm going to believe that they're going to feel it and that they're going to experience it just because they're in my presence. And then when we start to do these little things and we stop doing things the old way that we used to do them, when we start doing them a new way, then we see the changes and we see these things begin to shift in our life. Anyways, this is what I have for you guys here today. I do private sessions, private sessions. You can check that out in the link down below. You can always find me under The Real Healing Institute. I'm therealhealinginstitute.com. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the places, all the things under The Real Healing Institute. My name is Michelle Sinclair. I am a teacher of the Christ Letters, and I will see you guys in the next one.